emerald jewel near the tide line. Sunshine warms the back of my neck, making me remember the smell of the city's smog so faintly. This lovely light begs for me to finish the roof beam before the afternoon drifts away. Emerald streaks of blue flash where the jungle meets the sand, and Mango grazes peacefully near those bright edges. Look at that little crab scuttling near the edge. He moves with such determined purpose, like a tiny, shelled soldier on patrol. Good heavens, Oscar, you wander over here like a fluffy cloud misplaced upon the sand. Keep an eye out for any fallen branches while you graze. Never forget the sheer triumph of that first flame. I roared like a king surveying his new keep. Thick gray mist wraps everything up like a wet blanket, swallowing the edges of the jungle entirely. It feels like walking inside a giant, damp breath. Blast this unforgiving earth. I am truly snagged in its very sinews, Wilson. Maja, you giant, can you lend a trunk to this monumental rescue attempt? Remember that time we first got the little dinghy together? It was almost laughable, really. Just driftwood lashed together with vines. We thought we were masters of the tide, sailing out past the familiar cove. Then, a sudden squall hit, the kind that makes the ocean roar like a beast with 1,000 throats. I remember the sickening crunch of wood against that jagged coral head, the splintered wood flying everywhere. All that was left was the bitter taste of salt spray burning my lips and the sound of everything breaking apart. Hey there, Ruddy. You poor thing, look as if the earth has clamped down on your legs. Rain beads on the palm fronds, making everything shine like oiled jade. I recall the satisfying thud of that first perfectly placed roof beam, keeping the rain out. By the saints, these two boars look like they're wrestling the very bedrock, and I am caught like some forgotten beetle in the island's cruel netting. Amazing, look at that parrot strutting across the wet sand. He certainly has the most arrogant little swagger, doesn't he? Suddenly, the rain started spitting, turning the gray air into a curtain of cold needles. It reminds me of the day Oleander appeared. I had checked my notches twice. Sure, it was Thursday, yet he stood 8 paces away, not the customary 12. I spent the whole afternoon pacing, trying to decipher if the short distance meant a shift in the tides or perhaps a change in my own poor memory. Mango, you magnificent beast. You've got the best stride on the sandy path today. Suki the rabbit watches me from a little distance, twitching its nose as if reading my every thought. The jungle canopy overhead filters the sunlight into emerald coins scattered across the sand. Seeing that perfect alignment of driftwood, I wonder if you think this new palisade looks sturdy enough to withstand a proper gale, Wilson. Hey there, Mango. You seem quite snug down there, like a prize caught in the earth's embrace. Lovely Lola, you wandered right up here, just staring like you're waiting for a parcel to arrive. Honestly, this damp soil grips me like a jealous lover's hand. I'm trapped in the jungle's iron fist, Wilson. I swear I shall claw my way out of this vegetal chokehold before sundown. Surely Daisy seems rather settled by the water's edge today. These island creatures, they sense things I never could, like how the birds drop low when the air itself begins to change. These sturdy walls are almost finished. I bet no passing sailor would find a more orderly little haven. Siggy, you big gentle soul, you seem quite content wandering through this fog, don't you? You always know the best patches of green, Wilson. Little crabby friend, you've marched right up to the edge of my workshop, inspecting my work like it owes you some gold. Look at that little lizard poking its head from under the root. What secrets does it carry for us today? Remember the first blaze we coaxed from the tinder? It felt like conquering the very sky with that little flicker of smoke. Fog rolls in thick as wet wool, making even the familiar trees look like painted shadows. Wilson, maybe we should secure the roof of the shelter before the sea mist gets too deep, friend. Oh bye, you big green brute. You seem quite interested in this pile of firewood I stacked up for the morning fire. Stepping out from the swirling vapor, little parrotlet, you watch me like you're judging the quality of my last coconut meal. Shadows drift by in the thick curtain, making the palm fronds look like ghostly hands reaching out to greet us, Wilson. Seems like the sea has decided to wrap us in its damp, gray blanket tonight, Wilson. Remember that old saying, stay put if you get lost, because the searchers always look for you where they last saw you. Funny how the smell of salt and damp earth brings back the memory of that first successful raft, Wilson. It was a miracle, truly. Island's quiet tonight, isn't it? I suppose I'll just keep building until the fog lifts and I can see the stars again. Blast it all, this sodden earth has got its fingers wrapped around my ankle like a jealous sea serpent. This wretched mud grips my boot like a jealous kraken's tentacle, Wilson. Majid the duck just stares at this monumental catastrophe, making me feel utterly rooted in place. Little crabby friend, I remember once, back when I was hauling parcels through the city, a huge, ornate clock tower dominated the corner square. I had a package for a lady who lived in the grandest house, and the key must have been inside. I just knew it. The whole place smelled overpoweringly of lavender and old velvet, which made my senses reel for a moment. I finally located the little brass slot, popped the parcel in, and the click of the mechanism echoing back felt like a benediction. I swear, that single sound was worth more than all the gold in the treasury. Curse this treacherous earth. It has gripped me like the roots of an ancient mangrove, and I cannot lift my heel even an inch, Wilson. Piku the llama watches my plight, as if this single snag is the... Glowing against the deep velvet of the night sky, the stars blaze like scattered seeds of divine light. Crimson streaks bleed across the western horizon, painting the darkening water like spilled sacramental wine. Surely, the ticking of that pocket watch was just a fancy rhythm, compared to the steady breath of the tide washing against this shore. Great heavens, this patch of dirt has snagged me like a net woven by the devil himself. I swear I cannot pull this heel free, Wilson. These endless stars overhead shine down like God's own scattered jewels, a map leading back to where I belong. Over there, by the cove, I think I'll start sketching out a proper little cottage, something solid for the passing gentry to admire. Wonder if the constellations look the same over your old house tonight, and I just have a feeling someone is looking up with me. See those fox go, Wilson. They run like two clumsy acrobats having a rather heated disagreement about the best fishing spot. Silent vigil under these starry curtains feels like a quiet sermon, Wilson, reminding me of the vastness of his boundless grace. Little lizard, you wander by with such an air of mystery, almost as if you know secrets about the tides. Maybe I'll fashion a proper retaining wall tomorrow, something sturdy enough to keep Momo from raiding the fresh water supply. Wetness soaks into the very marrow of my bones, like a whispered prayer from the deep sea. I should just build something to keep the water out, Wilson. Bambi, look at you standing there, staring with those huge, gentle eyes. What treasures are you seeking from a poor castaway, Wilson? Rain beads on my brow, cold as a baptismal font, and Luna watches us both with those deep, knowing eyes. Little Momo, look at you basking there. You seem quite comfortable in this snowy blanket tonight. Frost crystals dust the ground, making everything look like a pale, forgotten painting, and Oscar the fox just watches me like he owns the whole white expanse. Curiosity makes me think I ought to start weaving some finer matting, keeping the damp chill off the floor. Wilson, remember that about the birch bark. Take only a small piece from a healthy tree, or you. Suki, you wander past with such a placid grace. You seem entirely unbothered by this fallen white dust. Through the mist, Suki just stands there, like a cloud of wool waiting for a sign. Wilson, wonder what the Almighty sees from this particular patch of fog. Fog blankets the beach like a wet shroud. Wilson, making me feel like the island's only resident lighthouse keeper whose beam has quit working. Remember that night when the sky finally ripped open and the rain came down like a million glass beads hitting the sand? I was so tired, Wilson, just watching the waves crash against the reef, feeling small as a grain of dust. Then, in the deep dark, I heard that slow, rhythmic exhalation, like a giant sigh breathing out beyond the breakers. It was the whale, wasn't it? For a split second, through the curtain of spray, I saw an eye reflecting the faintest starlight, a depth of black that felt older than the island itself. It was a moment of pure connection, like knowing that something vast was watching the same quiet miracle I was. Pip, you slither close like a ribbon of jade silk. You seem quite unconcerned by this thick curtain of fog today. Another downpour to soak through the rough-spun canvas. Wilson, this island certainly has a knack for...
Subscribe and ring the bell.